So in this video, I'm going to be briefly going over Donatello's life, what influenced Donatello to create art, and his influence and impact on others. Donatello was born as Donato di Niccolò di Beto Bardi in 1386 in Florence, Italy. His father was a very wealthy member of the Florentine wool combers guild. Donatello obtained his education from the Martellis, a very influential and wealthy Florentine family. Even from a young age, Donatello was very artistic, training in a goldsmith's workshop. This helped him learn more about metallurgy. In 1403, he apprenticed at the studio of Lorenzo Ghiberti, learning about Gothic sculpting. He helped Ghiberti create bronze doors for the Florentine baptistry. Donatello and Filippo Brunelleschi studied classical art in Rome from 1404 to 1407. During the trip, Donatello began to understand classical forms. After the trip, in 1408, he started working at the workshops of Cathedral in Florence. Donatello helped Ghiberti create the statues of prophets that were displayed at the north door of the cathedral. By 1408, he completed the marble sculpture of David, which was later used as a mark of Florentine Republic in 1416. From 1409 to 1411, Donatello created the figure of Saint John the Evangelist. This started the realism and naturalism seen in his work. From 1411 to 1413, he worked on a figure of Saint Mark. After he created the sculpture of St. George for the Confraternity of the Cuirass Makers. Donatello continued to work on many art pieces over the next decade, including the 5 statues for the Campanile of Santa Maria del Fiore in Florence. Between 1425 and 1427, Donatello created several tombs in Rome with Michelozzo. In 1430, Cosimo de' Medici tasked him to sculpt a bronze statue of David. The statue was a highlight of Donatello's art career, being the first known freestanding nude statue. Donatello then traveled all over Europe, creating marble statues, bronze statues, and tombs. With the help of his students, Donatello completed his last work, the bronze pulpits in the Church of San Lorenzo. Donatello died of unknown reasons on December 13, 1466. He is known as the greatest and most influential Italian artist of the 15th century. So, what influenced Donatello to create art? Many of his friends attested that he was not a cultured intellectual, but rather a connoisseur of ancient art. He had a more detailed knowledge of ancient sculpture than any other artist of his day. His work was inspired by ancient visual examples, which he transformed. He learned stone carving from one of the sculptors working for the Cathedral of Florence. Many think that is what started his artistic flow and passion for art. Donatello inspired other artists to try various sculpting techniques and explore other branches of art instead of sticking to the typical Gothic style. He made the first bronze statue, which gave other artists the idea to branch out with different types of metals. Donatello invented the shallow relief technique, which is meant to make a shallow plane appear deeper than it actually is. Donatello is considered the founder of modern sculpture because he made the sculptures look realistic. Other artists have followed in his footsteps and created sculptures that show emotions. So while I was doing some research on Donatello, I found some interesting facts that I thought I would share. So basically, during his time, he was actually not a very well-liked person. A lot of people admired his art, of course, but they didn't really like his personality. He would not let just anybody buy his sculptures. These people that bought his sculptures had to live up to his standards. And a lot of his employers stated that Donatello was very hard to work with because he demanded his artistic freedom. He didn't like when employers would tell him what to create and how to create it. He just wanted to do what he wanted to do. And after his death, one of his students, Bertoldo di Giovanni, completed one of his unfinished works.